going to allow Keith to make some opening comments, and then we're going to open it up for questions. Go ahead, Keith.
What's up, everybody? I hope you guys love that performance tonight. 22 months in the making for this. I told you won't see the best Keith Thurman, but you will see a world-class performance. I want to thank God. I want to thank my team, Al, Fox. This was a great night of boxing, and like I said before this fight happened, Keith one-time Thurman will make boxing great again.
All right, open it up for questions.
How you doing, Coach? Coach Anthony here with Behind the Gloves. Couple questions. First one is, did the shoulder feel good tonight when you were in there?
So, very easy answer. My shoulder was never a problem. That was a false article. Don't know who wrote the article about the shoulder. I've been asked about the shoulder multiple times. I haven't had a shoulder injury or shoulder dilemma for multiple years. So we're talking about 5 years or so. So it was an elbow surgery, which the elbow was absolutely okay. And then I had my left hand that was injured that kept me out of last year. So, like I said, simple answer.
Right here.
Okay, so how did it feel?
He kept his chin down. He kept his forehead out. I busted his nose, but constantly hitting a man in the forehead can hurt your hands. So my hands are a little swollen today, but I believe that they should be okay.
Right here, Keith.
Keith, Josh Grafer with Fight Hub TV. 2 questions. What surprised you the most tonight about Josesito Lopez? And we know you just had a tough 12 rounds, but is Pacquiao somewhere in the back of your mind as your next fight?
Definitely, first thing is rest, recuperation, being looked at by the doctors because of some of the swelling in my hands. The doctor in the back said that I'm going to need an x-ray for clearance, which is just mandatory, nothing special. I don't expect anything really crazy to pop up. And they gave me a 30-day suspension, but you know how champions are. I wasn't going to fight 30 days later, so everything is normal. Later this year, if that fight presents itself, I would definitely be open for negotiations, and I would love an opportunity to fight a legend.
Keith, Josh Friedman with SiriusXM, congratulations, welcome back. Your reaction to one of the scorecards having it a draw, not as you winning?
Yeah, hey, some of these judges make you work for it, right? One of the Charlos got an upset recently when he was the champion, and a lot of people felt like that performance was not validated to beat a champion. So they said a split decision, not even a draw, split decision against Danny Garcia. You got 3 individuals there judging a fight. Every human being is an individual. We're all opinionated in our own ways. And the way I look at it is just helps every boxer remember that you have to fight for your victory. When you leave it up to the judges, you do not know what they're thinking, what they saw, when they were watching, not watching, blinking. It just is what it is, and there's different angles in the ring. From what perspective did they see the fight? I thought I landed a lot of straight punches with the 1-2s and the jabbing, and I made him miss. He did have some nice connections. I could have kept my chin down a little better when he threw his straight right hand. My head was popping back. A lot of times I wasn't hurt. There was one round where I was obviously shooken up, but outside of that, I believe he dominated that 1 round and probably won 2 more rounds. And the other scorecards showed that. So at the end of the day, we're still here and we're still at the top.
Thank you. Rayer, congratulations. Welcome back to the ring. My question for you is, could you just sort of give your thoughts about the overall way you felt as far as back in the ring after 22 months, about maybe your timing, your speed, your rhythm? Did you feel like you've been out of the ring for any long quantity of time?
A little bit. There was a little insecurity of taking risk. Obviously, my opponent had no problem taking risks tonight, right? He was swinging wild, he was swinging openly, and I was trying to stay more basic and fundamental. I've always told you guys that I will find a way to win. I'm very methodical in the ring. I thought that, you know, because he was throwing big, he was looking for all the dangerous shots. I figured I'd point him, try to land some body shots, see what I can get in. But those straight punches, I mean, his defense wasn't really up for that. My movement, the jab, some of my rhythm and timing was exactly what I wanted it to be. I possibly did underestimate him a little bit in preparation for this fight, knowing that I'm favored, knowing that my skills are tremendous. I could have done a little bit more strength work. I didn't bring my aunt into this training camp. We did create a knockdown. I did feel like he had to respect my power from time to time, but just being a game fighter, like I've been saying all week, and an opportunity to become champion of the world, he had nothing to lose, everything to gain, and he gave me a great fight tonight.
One other question for you, Keith, about that. When you knocked him down in the second round, did you think you were going to get him out of there at that point, or did you feel like he still had, you know, his legs under him, so to speak, when he got up?
Well, he got up at a decent number of the count. I had a feeling, you know, the 10 seconds was coming up. I had a feeling that I wasn't going to be able to get him out that round. It was all going to be more or less what happened in the next round, the third round. And, you know, just like Bundu, just like when Floyd got rocked by Shane Mosley, sometimes when a fighter gets caught off guard, it really puts them back on guard. So he did a great job of not making the same mistake twice.
Right here. Keith, would you rather have the fight against Pacquiao later this year or a shot at Porter, Ugas winner?
Great question. They're both on my radar. At the end of the day, I would probably take either one of those. I mean, we can only take one fight at a time. Manny Pacquiao is not going to be here for the years to come, and Sean Porter and Ugas, especially Ugas. Let's say Ugas wins. You know, allowing him to have a title defense before fighting the obvious mandated champion Keith Thurman to get my WBC title back. You know, that's not the end of the world. And yeah, just fighting a legend, I just feel like the clock is ticking. Mayweather's out of the game, and if I had such an opportunity, it might prioritize fighting some of the younger fighters in the sport of boxing today.
Hey, Keith, Marshall Brown, Boxing Sweet Science 2.0. I got a question. I got two questions. The first one is, what do you think Lopez did good? And the second one is, what could you have done better?
You know, he just pressured, you know, walked through the jabs. The movement was confusing for him. Keeping the jabs out there was confusing. I was able to switch up my jab and my hook. I think that because the changeup was there from the straight punch and the left hook, I possibly could have just committed more to, I'll call it a lunging left hook. Floyd used to throw this punch quite a bit. After he feint, he leaned into the left hook. And Josesito Lopez had no problem leaning in. Like I said, I was a little conservative. That's what I'm gonna take away from this tonight, is that that Keith Thurman needs to have the confidence to take a little bit more risk in the battle, on the battlefield. You know, it's okay to be smart and box your way to victory, but the punch was there. I used my hand speed. You know, when you keep throwing the jab, it makes a fighter want to bring their right hand into the front of their face, and that's why mixing the jab with that hook it just was there. It was there several times, but I just wasn't giving it the oomph that I really could have. And outside of that, when I wasn't giving it the oomph, you know, whenever I lead it into the body, he was prepared for it. He has long arms. He kept his arms together well, protecting his body. I think when I was doubling up the hook to the head and landing some of those hooks to the head, instead of going body head, I could have went head body And, you know, 22 months out of the game, like I said, a little overconfident, but you live and you learn, you go back to the drawing board, and we're gonna stay champion, and we're gonna, you know, Black History Month is coming up, so I'm gonna show you how great I am. Shout out to Muhammad Ali.
Hey, how's it going? It's Ron from the Boxing Voice. I have two questions. The first one was in regards to how soon would you like to come back and fight again this year? And then with that being said, I know a lot of us probably know that you want to go fight Sean Porter after at some point. Terrence Crawford and Amir Khan, do they fit anywhere in that picture?
You know, this is a get back year, and I think the greatest accomplishment that I can do to get back is to get back to my original status, being the unified welterweight champion of the world. What else is there to get back to? Yes, there's some other competition out there, but I'm pretty sure, you know, with no disrespect, you don't know what it feels like to be champion of the world. You don't know what it feels like to have 2 world titles and then reach your highest peak and then have to put yourself back at 1 title. 23 years in the game, and we just would like to reestablish the accomplishments that we've already achieved. So, you know, with that said, Crawford's gonna be around in the future.
Right here.
Keith, Chris Glover, Trinity Group Media. Congratulations on a great performance tonight. Just my only question is, there's been a lot of names banded around just tonight. In an ideal world, who would you want next, and when and where would you want it? Do you want to get back into big fights, pay-per-view level fights straight away?
Well, you know, all I want to do is stay active, stay healthy, and really, like I said, restate my position at 147 at the top of the sport of boxing. When Keith Thurman fought Sean Porter on Showtime, it was Showtime's fight of the year. It was here in Brooklyn. It was a tremendous fight, you know. Sean Porter and Danny Garcia both wanted rematches with Keith Thurman. Now, I was injured. I gave up a world title so that they can fight and it can hold purpose and that there be merit in the battle. So Sean Porter was the winner of that fight. And I would love to give him that opportunity that I believe he deserves in a rematch. Obviously, he needs to defeat Ugas. Ugas is also a game fighter. He's not nobody to just bat an eye over. He could possibly create an upset. There was glimpses of an upset being created tonight. Boxing is a beautiful yet brutal sport. You cannot overlook any opponents at any time. You cannot reach too far into the future. So we will see what my team decides, what opportunities present themselves in the up and coming months. And when we are slowly getting into negotiations, you all will be some of the first people to hear about it.
Thanks, Keith.
Josesito Lopez has joined us. Go ahead, right here.
Gerard Aaron, CBA with Fight Hype. Actually, it's a good thing that Josesito walked in. I was just going to ask you, you mentioned being hurt in one of the rounds, obviously. We haven't seen too many instances in which you've been hurt. How would you rate Josesito's power? Is this the most that we've ever seen you hurt in a fight?
I don't believe it was the most that I've been hurt in a fight, but it was one of the greatest follow-ups after being dazed in a fight. It had to be the best follow-up that I've ever come across. So for those who follow Keith Thurman, might remember Keith Thurman fighting Soto Carras. And in the first round, Soto Carras hit me with an overhand right, looping overhand right, while I was up against, right before I was up against the ropes, pushed me back to the ropes, followed it up with a right uppercut. In that instant, my legs buckled. And I smiled at him, and I moved around, and I had my legs under me, but for that split second, he kind of got me, and there was nothing I could do about it. I used my legs, I used my jab, and then I came back and completely dominated that round. He had no momentum after that shot. Then you had Luis Collazo with the most devastating body shot that I ever had to suffer in a live boxing match. I've actually been dropped by a body shot from the likes of Winky Wright way back in the day in Lake Tahoe in sparring. So we've taken body shots before. We've taken body shots in the amateurs, but Luis Collazo did land that shot. There was no follow-up. What this man did today was not only daze me, but had the greatest follow-up that I had to endure. Now, I was trying to be on the outside, and I thought that I was on the outside. Like I said, he took a lot of chances tonight. He was a very hungry, very game fighter. While he was lunging, taking risk, I was not valued. I could not take into consideration how long his arms were when he leaned past his front foot, throwing that straight right hand, not looping punches. He kept throwing that straight right hand, straight down the pipe. And it happened to constantly make contact, and because it was solid contact, it snapped my head back. It snapped my head back again. And he wasn't doing, to a degree, every punch does a little bit more damage, but it wasn't more severe than the damage that he's already dealt. And it wasn't the most damage ever dealt to me in a match, but it was the greatest follow-up, and I will give him props for that.
Thank you, Keith.
John Dowling, New York Fights. How you doing, Keith?
Pretty good.
You've had a hell of a 3 years, man. I mean, you crashed the Mustang beginning of 2016, life and death situation there, you recovered. There's Sean Porter. You had to recover from that hellacious situation there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get in there with Danny.
With bone spurs.
With bone spurs, right? And then you have the recovery from that, and now Josesito comes in here tonight, raises hell, presses you physically. You know Sean Porter, Errol Spence, and Terrence Crawford were watching. How much did you think about that as the fight is going on and trying to look good and everything else? And how do you maintain the desire to become or try to prove that you're the best welterweight in the world with all that you've gone through over the last couple of years?
I'm kind of in the mood to keep pressing that Black History Month is coming up, because I'm not really going to be here in February. I'm going to be spending time with my wife in Japan.
Oh, you got married too.
Yeah, so Malcolm X said, a man that has no critics most likely has no success. Now, I believe, and I've always believed, that I will find a way to victory. There's many things that I've learned from my peers in the past, the likes of Jeff Lacey, Winky Wright, Chad Dawson, Andre Berto, and some people that I've never shared the ring with, the likes of Floyd Money Mayweather. I was at all of his fights in his 6-fight contract with Showtime. And what I learned from just being a spectator is if you want to be champion of the world, you need to win 7 rounds, 7 out of 12. And when I was a little unconvinced when he first gave himself the title, TBE, 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 the best ever. We already had to get ready, listen to money made, money made, money made, making money, money made, Then he went through the TBE, and you got the Team Money Mayweather logo, then you had the TBE logos, and obviously all the logos made him more money at the end of the day, right? But even some of you guys were giving him criticism when he called himself the best ever. And I had to ponder on this, and I, obviously watched him film and watched his fights live. And I said to myself, you know what? I never said it out loud to all of you, but I will today. Floyd Mayweather is the best ever 7-round fighter. And with hard work, determination, grit, and the will to win, he never, including when he let Marcos Maidana fight Marcos Maidana's fight. He never let a human being get more than 5 rounds in a 12-round fight. He made sure that he was the best 7-round fighter ever. And that's one of the reasons why he was able to remain undefeated.
Okay, so we're gonna let Josesito make a statement, and Robert, we're gonna let you make a statement as well, and then we'll return to the questions. Go ahead, Josesito.
All right, thank you. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to be appreciative of the opportunity to fight for a world champion against a world champ like Keith Thurman. The fight didn't go my way. I felt it was a pretty close fight. I felt I might have pulled it off, but 2 of the scorecards I didn't think were very fair. I knew I had to really win some heavy rounds to pull off a victory, a decision. I'm a little disappointed with the outcome. I felt like if the same would have happened to me when I hurt him, they would have stopped it in a heartbeat. It sucks that I didn't feel like I got a fair shake, but I'm okay with my performance. And if he considers himself to be the number 1, I want to see the number 2 through number 5. I feel like I'm right up there.
Thank you all. We had a great training camp. From my dad, myself, all our sisters, my son, Herod, who did the conditioning. We came in to do what nobody expected us to do, and I think even though we didn't get the win, I think everybody was a little surprised. I'm sure all you guys thought it was going to be a 2 or 3 round fight. Keith Thurman is a great fighter, great champion. We thank him for the opportunity, and we wish him the best. He's a great champion. Can't say nothing bad about him. He's a hell of a fighter, a great person too. We just know that with the type of fight that Josesito fought, he didn't lose, he won. And I know you guys all want to see him again, and there's so many big names out there for Josesito that are gonna, they better be ready, because Josesito's always gonna give everybody a hell of a fight.
Keith Heidig from BoxingScene.com. I have the same question for Josesito and Robert, and then a question for Keith. How close, Steve Willis was taking an extremely close look when Keith was hurt in the 7th round. He was right in between you guys. How close do you think he came to stopping the fight?
I felt like it was, could have been one more punch away in many instances of that round. I felt if it would have happened to me, it would have been stopped. I know that. But he could have easily stopped it. But maybe it was, I guess, one punch away.
Look, Josesito landed so many good punches that round that if the ref would have stopped it, I don't think there would have been too many people complaining. Keith is still a strong survivor. He did whatever it took to survive the round. He moved, he tried to do everything possible. Josesito landed so many punches that if the ref would have stopped it, I don't think, Steve was very close to stopping it. I don't think there would have been too many people complaining. I think it would have been a fair stoppage, but he didn't. And look, and Keith still survived it and came back to continue boxing the way he was boxing. He fought a great fight. He was in great shape. He's got a great team behind him. We gotta respect that too.
Keith, what were you thinking when you got hurt with that punch, and then for the remainder of the round, you had a lot of time that you had to survive for the rest of the round? What were you thinking when that happened?
Like I said, it was one of the best follow-ups that I had to endure. The straight right hand was snapping my head back. It wasn't rocking me over and over again, but my chin was not tucked well enough. I was standing too straight up. I thought I was on the outside, so I was able to do that, but he was just fully committed to lunging and just taking risk. He took a lot more risk in this fight than I took in this fight. There was a little bit of nervousness because they're right. On certain degrees, at certain times, you don't know what a referee is going to do. And I was moving, and I felt like my movement was evidence that I was A-okay, because it was a tremendous amount of movement. And a lot of fighters that are not A-okay are gonna end up sitting on the ropes and gonna end up taking those punches. And then in that moment, even if the fighter doesn't go down, the ref has to really stand there and think about it and most likely stop the fight. But I think, you know, I possibly could have moved my hands a little bit more to show that I was okay, I was still game, I wanted to fight. But like I said, my movement was tremendous in that moment. I constantly was moving around the ring, taking punches, but you have to be a consciously aware fighter to move like that in that situation. When you're in a dangerous situation and you start getting hit and you start getting wobbled and then you get re-rocked and then move and then get re-rocked, it's very hard to stay consciously aware of your feet and where you want to go into the ring. So my ring awareness, I think, is what allowed the referee to look at me but say, you know, this guy's moving, he's doing his best, he's taking punches, but he's really, he is in the fight. And there was a moment where obviously it could have been one punch away, maybe at least into a knockdown. If it was devastating enough, landed clean enough, could have been a knockout. I tell you guys over and over again, the name one time isn't something that I can do to them, it's something that they can do to me.
Hey Keith, congratulations. I have two questions. Was ring rust a factor tonight? Because it seemed like when you were moving, when you were, you know, utilizing your footwork, it seemed like you had difficulty positioning yourself. And the second question is, what were you thinking when you heard it was a when the scorecards were a majority decision?
I was confident that I won the fight by outpointing him with the straight punches. You know, he took a lot of unnecessary 1-2s and a lot of jabs in between each and every round. He was committed to trying to land the most devastating blows, but I clearly made him miss from time and time again. A few got in, but I just, you know, when I saw that he was committed to just sitting down, throwing those wide punches off of a few pawing jabs, I just said to myself, you know, you're gonna point this guy. We're gonna box. We're gonna be smart. If we can land another check hook, we're gonna do that. I wanted to land the uppercut. I wanted to land some body shots, and I feel like he was aware. He got caught with a few, but he was aware of some of those punches, and he fought a really good fight tonight. But he did not beat the champion. The ring rust. There was a part of me that, you know, I enjoyed myself. I moved, I ducked and rolled, and then popped, you know, and then I moved and I popped. And yeah, there was some ring rust because I could have done more. I believe there's a lot more that I'm fully capable of, but we did what we had to do to win, stay champion, stay at the top, and this is a get back here. I told everybody that I'm going to get back. I told everybody that they are not going to see the best Keith Thurman tonight, but they will see a world-class performance, and I do believe that I gave you guys that.
And we're going to do 3 more questions.
Xavier Porter, BrooklynFights.com, shoot the file. This question is for Josesito Lopez. What went into the knockdown? Like, you know, your thoughts and everything after, you know, going down. And how do you rate Keith Thurman's power, given the fact that you faced several fighters, several hard-hitting punches, such as Marcus Madonna, Canelo, as well as Andre Berto? How do you rate Keith Thurman's power?
I would say he has decent power. He has good movement, as you saw, especially later down the rounds. I mean, you know, he's a good fighter. You know, I can't say anything about it. He moved quite well. It wasn't the easiest to land a clean punch on him. You know, that knockdown was a little off balance, and he caught me. You know, didn't feel in danger of getting stopped, but you know, still had to be smart. So, you know, I would say it was a little bit of an off balance punch that he landed, and I had to take a knee.
Josesito, Chris Connor here, Fight City Last Call. Last time I talked to you, I asked you why you do what you do, and you gave a great response. My question there is very simple. You first 5 rounds, he's happy that he has all the answers, knocking you down, and most fighters either just give up or say, all right, I'll fight another day. You kept fighting, you kept pressing, you made this a fight, and you only stole this fight from him. What makes you do that? I mean, when you're down, when everything's not working, what makes you just go, all right, you know what? Screw it, I'm just gonna keep on fighting, keep on hustling, and not just let it get to me.
You know, like in life, man, times get tough, but only the tough ones survive. You know, I knew it was gonna be a little tough coming in. Good movement, maybe a little bit of aggressiveness on his part, but you know, I felt like I was tucking in and blocking most of his punches, staying up close and cutting the ring on him, and slowly, you know, chopping away. It was a good first few rounds, but I thought I won the second half of the fight. You know, it was a good fight, man. I can't be too disappointed. He was a game fighter, and we put a good performance out for everybody in Brooklyn today.
Right here.
Hey, Keith, Ryan Sangalia from Ring Magazine. I wanted to ask you, having seen what Manny Pacquiao looked like last week, how do you see a fight with him going? And Dan, if you want to also chime in, I'd love to hear your point, your take as well.
You know, Manny Pacquiao did what he always does. You know, he threw punches and bunches, but he was up against a counter puncher. So obviously his corner was saying, you know, don't overcommit, don't overcommit. They learned from their mistakes in the past. They were, you know, easily able to outpunch Adrian Broner. He did a good performance, you know. He could have done more, but by doing more, it's taking more risk. And every fight, you may not be willing to take all those risks. Like I said, I want to get back into the confidence to take more risk in the fight, you know, because this man took a lot of risk, and it in certain moments it worked out to his benefit. So it's a catch-22. Taking risk may work out for you, and taking risk may be the downfall of that fight. And Manny Pacquiao really didn't want the risk to be the downfall of his fight, so he fought in spurts. He fought at the right moments when AB was on the ropes. In the later rounds, he had great conditioning throughout the whole fight. And you know, he's not the young Manny Pacquiao that he once was, but he still is a great world-class fighter. And you know, if we get that fight, we'd be happy to do it for ourselves, and definitely for the fans. And here's my coach's comment.
Good fight, champ. Manny Pacquiao is a formidable opponent for anybody, but we would love that fight. It'd be a boxer-puncher type of fight. It'd be an exciting fight, and I think the fans would love it. And I just want to give Josesito Lopez a lot of credit. He's one of the toughest son of a guns I've ever seen in my life, and I've been in this game a long time.
Last question right here.
Yeah, so for Lopez, is there anything that you think you could have did, you know, to probably win the fight? Anything you think you could have did a little bit better? And for Keith, I know your prediction was to get him out of there in 6 rounds or less, but you know, you got your 12 rounds in. So are you a little bit more relieved that you got 12 full rounds in to, you know, kind of accelerate the whole knocking off the rusting?
You know, as far as my part, you know, I felt like I did pretty good in the second half of the fight. Maybe pushed the pace a little bit faster in the first half. You know, it just, more than anything, I try to fight smart. You know, he's a good fighter, so you know, I had to be smart in there, not to get into too many wild exchanges. I thought we fought a pretty decent fight, and I'm not too down on myself. You know, I'm tired of being this close to winning and pulling off these big fights. big victories against you know, a fighter like Keith Thurman or any of the top fighters that I fought. You know, I just feel like I was just one step away again. You know, and in that part, it's a little disappointing, but I'm not down on myself on my performance. So.
No, I'm not satisfied with 12 rounds. There's a curse in Brooklyn. Never got a knockout. Was my first knockdown, so we're making progress. You know, making some progress, I guess. Like I said, man, you know, I think each and every round, you know, I'm just so methodical, and I just commit to a game plan as soon as possible. And the game plan told me, you know, don't take too much risk, you know? And I think opening up my punches a little wider, throwing heavier shots around his gloves, some right hooks, some left hooks. There was moments I was like, come on, man, just right hook, left hook him. Come on, right hook, left hook him. Let's do it again, let's do it again. And it could have been the ring rust because it just was not there tonight. I still did put on a 12-round performance. I showcased my skills and talent once again, which is what I wanted to do. I'm very happy the fans of Brooklyn came out to see my comeback. I got a lot of love and support saying, welcome back, champ, welcome back. And this was a great fight for Fox. You know, this is a brand new thing that is happening in the sport of boxing. I think it's a beautiful thing to see just the banner, Fox and PBC. You know, I think it's just a beautiful logo, and this is the second fight. And what kind of fight fans can complain about what happened tonight? So, hey man, I just really hope that you guys are happy, and like I said, I will be coming back with better performances later this year.